Hey everybody, welcome to another fine episode of Behind the Counter. I'm your host, Rich Stambolian, and seated to my left
Always gotta think about that.
is Jonathan Adler.
Hey.
Oh, beautiful.
All day.
Yeah, beautiful. I was hoping.
Hogwan test me now.
I was hoping you were gonna do this.
No, I'm not gonna do the Japanese thing.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Oh, that's awesome. I think I just farted.
We are slowly becoming an incredible rap show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The greatest hip-hop station known to man.
It's going to go from
With no hyperbole whatsoever.
comics to cromics, the comics of the future.
Look to a special episode, possibly at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Crossover.
Yeah.
Two worlds coming together as one.
Yeah.
They will collide.
It will be a great surprise for all of us. And a great pleasure for
That's what's going to happen in my house, by the way.
It would, man. It would. It would be like a crisis on Infinite Andrews.
By the way, I have to shut this down, like the sound clips.
Yeah.
Because every other chance I get, I'm just going to be hitting the bomb.
That's fine.
Fine.
I can't.
Hit the horn every time we hit like a high joke. Hit the horn.
Yeah.
Let's have a rim shot just to the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There you go. We're going to be funny today.
Yeah. We're gonna try to do it. It's not gonna be like
We're working for that sound effect.
like Shecky and the Bruno over here. Like, wah.
Who's Bruno?
You could be Bruno. I'll be Bruno.
You want to be
You
Bruno?
want to be Shecky?
I'll be Shecky.
All right. Beautiful.
I have the Hebrew in me.
How's your week, man?
My week was good. I had a really, really fantastic week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a great night. I'm very, very tired.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of comics.
Yeah, me too, man.
I watched the Tillman story on Netflix this week,
Mm-hmm.
which is very good.
Yeah.
I recommend it most. Pat Tillman, Captain America. Guy died. Killed by his own soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
Sad story.
It was on HBO?
It was on Showtime on Demand.
Cool.
It was awesome.
There's it's weird. The one thing I want to watch on HBO now is that Dick Cavett Mel Brooks thing.
Fuck yeah, I don't know this
Did you
one.
hear about this?
No.
It's like a 2-hour interview with like Mel Brooks, and I think it's Dick Cavett or somebody else. Maybe Dick Cavett's dead. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Dick Cavett's dead.
It's like one of those. It's like an old timey host.
It's
and Mel
either
Brooks.
Dick Cavett's dead or Dick Cabinet's dead.
And
One of the two.
and Mel Brooks is like 1,000 years old in it.
He's always 1,000 years old.
lot
I
of-
explained something to somebody who Mel Brooks was yesterday.
How did you explain it?
How old were they?
24.
Oh, that's a shame.
It just didn't click. Just who the person was.
Mhm.
I know she knows who it is. Just I didn't. No Mel Brooks.
No.
Because I was talking about how I always, ever since Blazing Saddles, whenever they reveal like the Indian chief, because like in Blazing Saddles it was Mel Brooks, so you get this like really Jewy dude like all of a sudden turn out. So every time I see like a western and I see like they like reveal like the Indian chief, I'm always like it's gotta be Mel Brooks. Like I saw Cowboys and Aliens, it's like it's totally not Mel Brooks, but I was like maybe it's gonna be Mel Brooks.
Laws and games. It's a great flick. They've been showing a lot of Mel Brooks movies lately too. They showed Young Frankenstein the other day on one of the premium channels.
My two favorites are Young Frankenstein and
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Blazing Saddles is amazing.
It's so good.
I wish Mel Brooks did a comic book movie.
What would it be
That's all
about?
I got.
What would it be on? What would that movie be about?
I don't know. Anything.
I don't know.
Anything fake. I wish he did kick ass.
I enjoyed all of his stuff. I even enjoy like Life Stinks. Like
I love Life Stinks,
Yeah.
man.
Life Stinks.
Dracula Dead and Loving It?
I don't like that one.
Nah.
Young Frankenstein is phenomenal, by the way.
So
Yeah.
good.
My favorite, The Producers.
Producers
Favorite
are
favorite Mel
ridiculous.
Brooks movie.
Yeah,
favorite
I
one.
love that one.
That's interesting. Usually nobody goes for the producers.
I love
Nobody
The
goes for
Producers.
producers in silent movie. Silent movie is an excellent flick.
I love silent movie.
Now, Springtime for Hitler.
It's phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Just so the movie was not that good though. I don't think the movie was good. I thought
think it was good.
no, the remake. I'm talking about the remake. The original was a lot better.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like the remake. I'm not a big fan of the Nathan Lane.
Well, Gene Wilder is brilliant.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's always so cool.
The Maniac.
Willy Wonka.
All those Richard Pryor movies too, man. A lot of freaking
Stir
comics
crazy.
came out
It's a
this
lot
week.
of big stack of comic books,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I mean, like we're just gonna destroy.
Yeah, so
everything. Man.
we have not talked about DC at length, for the past, since we've started the show.
5 weeks.
So now with this new initiative of the 52 new #1 comics that are coming from DC, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So you're gonna see a lot of predominant speaking on the topic of the DC universe.
And it's gonna be like that for the next few weeks too, because it's not a joke. They're coming out with 52 new number ones, and the crazy thing about that I found out today is all these number ones, it's like a weird resurgence of like mid-90s, like I'm going to buy number ones of comics, because a lot of these are going for like quadruple price on eBay at this point. Like Batgirl's going for
already?
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Batgirl, Action, I think Detective is beating out Batgirl right now.
Well,
until they announce the second print.
That brings something up interesting. I had a viewer that sent me an email, and you brought up that the value of a lot of these comics from the 90s. Because I think we were talking about value in the first couple of weeks, and you said the value is like virtually nothing compared to what it was 20 years before that. Like 70s comics are worth a lot more than 90s comics in like the transition of times because they printed so many issues. Yeah. Does that still stand true to now? Are they still printing mass circulations compared to what the 90s were?
For something like this, absolutely. I mean, like they were projecting like JLA number one at like $200,000 units.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of messed up too. Like, if this is like one of the few things that are actually advertised on TV for a comic. And they actually went to such a big push for the media part of this. So retailers were like, "Holy shit!" Like, I don't know if I can even handle like carrying an Action Comics number one or Detective Comics number one. Who cares about numbers? Let's talk about comics.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy influx, man. They're all new number ones. You know what? After last week's big thing, we did if you watched the show last week, we did a huge 20-minute negative zone about JLA number one, and it really left a sour taste in both of our mouths. Mm-hmm. But this week, man, they flipped it on us.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I'll definitely bring us down to reality, but there were a few like kind of clunkers and stuff like that, but there was something I don't know. There was like. Let's talk about my favorite one so far. That would be Action Comics number one. That just totally rocked. You got Grant Morrison doing Superman in t-shirt, jeans. This dude is cocky. Yeah. He gets hurt.
Yep.
He's still learning his powers. He's just like he's awesome. He's writing such a cool Superman.
It's like it's an awesome proactive Superman because he's young and he just got to Metropolis. So he's like, and all this stuff again is 5. Like the stuff that he's writing now is 5 years before JLA. So it's him just getting to Metropolis, and he lives in like a shitty apartment, and he goes out on patrol and does like all this cool Superman stuff, and he gets beat up, and it's really awesome because he goes out there and finds criminals instead of an event happening where he has to react to it. He's always been a reactionary hero.
My problem with this is like it takes a lot for me to like Superman because I think he's such a milquetoast character, and like it's usually just Superman just shows up and just like has his hands on his hips and just like you fucking up.
I wish he said that.
And this one, like, this dude's dangling people over like the sides of a building and like say you're a bad guy and like
confess.
It's good. It's like and the fact that he is not this like, 'cause it's like you don't want a dude who's like that invincible. Like there's no threat. Like I've never read a Superman comic book, even the Death Superman, and felt like he's at a threat. Like something bad could happen to Superman.
Like the closest they came was a couple of years ago when they did the whole rejuvenation of Kandor when he had that crazy Brainiac story, and then the Phantom Zone villain's coming back and he just gets beat up for like.
But you had to do something. But that's what I'm saying. Like you had to go with like a really superhuman, someone who was like up to par with Superman to really hurt him. And this is a dude in this comic who's getting like hurt from like a train. Right. Like taking the impact of it. Ears are bleeding and like it's awesome.
The really cool thing about that is that they in the modern kind of new era of DC, it's they touch on the fact that that Superman, like the modern Superman, is invincible. And another excellent book that came out this week, which I really dug, was Stormwatch, about how they try to recruit. It's Stormwatch from the Wildstorm universe in the DC universe now.
The Authority for the most part.
It's the Authority, and they're trying to recruit. It's the issue trying to recruit Apollo, and Apollo's on Earth, and he has these crazy powers, and he's a crime fighter. And they recruit him on the basis of like, listen, there's this dude in Metropolis who's crazy strong. We don't like it. You could be stronger than him. Come follow us. And it's
Photoshop his head onto like a fight. Like a faux pas fight between Superman and Apollo. And the weird thing is like Apollo is the is a parody of Superman himself.
Yeah, and Midnighter shows up, and Midnighter's the
Batman,
the parody of Batman. In the Wildstorm universe, though, they are gay
for each other.
But I don't know if they're gonna make them.
I hope they bang. Because that was cool. Like that was, they get married. They had like this really sweet relationship. They were really cool. Like good, great
characters.
Gay characters.
Beautiful characters, and you know what? And that's like that's one of the things that always pisses me off about like people like going crazy about like a reveal of like a character's sexuality. These dudes have been around for more than 10 years. Nobody cares because it's like to a mainstream reader, it's an indie book, which I never got either. I don't Wildstorm. What's that independent stuff?
Well, Wildstorm was always kind of like a weird ship. I mean, like they really, you read your Wildcats, you read your Authority. But there was it was so in and out with the quality of its book. Like Authority at its best was at its best. You know, Stormwatch and Warren Ellis's writing was tremendous.
Yeah.
Wildcats with Joe Casey on it, tremendous. But there's also there was a lot of clunkers in there, so I kind of understand.
Yeah, I really wish that Wildcats run was on time and ended properly. It was such a great story, man. With Spartan as the the evil CEO.
So good.
It was awesome, man.
Pick up, if you want to read a really cool story, pick up Wildcats 3.0. You can probably get it in like one trade. It's so good. It's such a good comic.
It is. But going back to the DC stuff, there's like a couple of letdowns in my pile. I skipped on a few of them. I skipped on OMAC, Hawk and Dove, and I forgot the other one. But,
I didn't get a chance to read OMAC yet. I mean, because there's just so much to read this week, and I really want to give as much time for everything. OMAC I didn't read yet. I do have it. I am going to read it. Hawk and Dove is probably one of the ones that I'm really not looking forward to reading because of Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
What was it? There was another one that we didn't read.
It's like that third book that just came out, and I should have brought my list with me. But like one of the letdowns I think for me was Green Arrow. I think we both talked about it before the show, and it was just kind of like meh.
What? Like I've been let down by Green Arrow for so long.
Yeah.
I like Green Arrow before like Kevin Smith even touched it. I really didn't really have an interest in the character, and then I went back and I read like the Mike Grell stuff, and that stuff is awesome. But like, there's a whole lot more shit Green Arrow stories than there are great, Green Arrow stories. Yeah. And you have the potential to do some really awesome stuff with it. Yeah. But like JT Krul, I'm not a fan of his stuff, and definitely, I don't know what they're doing with this book.
It seems like
the same. It seems like the same shit.
It's the same shit, different costume. It seems like they,
don't like the costume.
It was like if you bought the Smallville DVD and you really like Smallville and it came
that's what it is.
Like it came packaged with the Green Arrow, and it's like the same costume. He looks from, like Smallville, I didn't
even realize that. I didn't even like. I knew there was a reason why I didn't like that.
Yeah, I'm a weird costume guy. Like I like I was visually. Intercept stuff like that,
You're a Taylor.
It's just, it's like he showed up out of Smallville, and it was like the story really did nothing for me. And for a number one, I don't know if I'm gonna pick up the number two. Honestly, I love the character. I've always been a big fan of Green Arrow. They also did like a bunch of cool stuff with the character that really didn't pan out right, like when they made him the mayor, which was cool in the beginning, and then it kind of like fell off.
That was cool stuff.
Then he became the guardian, and then he did all like the family stuff, and then he became the guardian of the forest. In a city, which was a letdown.
With Galahad and it was Star City became a gigantic star-filled forest.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Great.
Yeah, I probably won't be coming back again for. I'll read it, but I'm not really looking forward to reading another Green Arrow.
Yeah, like another book I might not come back to is Justice League International. I mean, I love the old Justice League International. I know you dug this book.
I'm in it, man.
Yeah,
I'm in to win it.
I love the characters in it, except for Vixen. For some reason, I never liked her. And they have the one of the Grant Morrison guys showed up in it, and he like the basis of the book is there. The government's trying to put together a superhero team which has representatives from all the countries and like the United Nations, so they're like backed by the world government. And you have Booster Gold, who is kind of like the de facto leader because he loves the spotlight. And Booster Gold is such a great character, that they really brought him into the spotlight in the last few years, ever since 52, and the whole Supernova thing, and then him teaming up with Rip Hunter. And I hope that stuff is still canon, because
I think so.
They allude to it.
I don't think it's going to be, I don't think they're going to focus as much as that, because I think they really wanted to, like, focus on probably the relationship between him and Blue Beetle and run with that the Justice League International aspect of it,
right,
as opposed to the, that really awesome time traveling stuff. But hopefully they'll get down to that point. Like Dan Jurgens already said that he would love to come back and do a Booster Gold book.
Right.
It always did kind of like middle of the road well. So like, why not? I mean, if you can have a book about Justice League International and friggin' Batwing, we can
Right.
I think you have room for a Booster Gold comic.
Right. You didn't like Batwing too much, right?
I did. I was reading it before we came on the air. I have my issues with Judd Winnick.
Because he was on The Real World?
No, I've read a lot of Judd Winnick stuff that I really enjoyed.
Teen Titans.
But I feel like this is a weird pick. When you set up Batman Incorporated and you have all these really cool Batman ideas,
right?
All these people who are working for Bruce Wayne, I just thought he was like the weird choice.
I actually really, like the counterpoint to that, I really
art
liked
is
the
beautiful
choice,
on it.
Yeah, it's Ben Oliver did a phenomenal job, and the whole story with Batwing is they're taking one of the Batman Incorporated Batmen that Batman's been trying to find, and that's another question that I want answered about like the whole Batman Incorporated stuff is out of continuity or not. But in one issue, Batman goes to Africa and finds this guy who's like a vigilante and makes him, he swears him into the Bat family, and the issue is him, fighting thugs in Africa. And I really dug it, and there's that one cool panel where he's like, a bat, like really, like these guys have been killing people since they were children. A bat's not going to scare them. So he has to sell the fact that he's like this mythical creature.
Yeah. Which like is the element of what we like about Batman, the whole fear aspect of him.
Right.
It was it's an interesting book. I'm along the ride for that one. I love that book.
Yeah.
Men of War. Ivan Brandon, awesome book. I'm always hungry for Sergeant Rock stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a great way of incorporating old school like World War II Sergeant Rock over to a modern setting.
It's such a fantastic take on it too, because whenever you get a Sergeant Rock story, it's always the World War II Sergeant Rock that we know and love. This is his grandson, Joseph Rock, and he's
Joe Rock,
which, you can't really come up with anything better than that. Frank Rock, Joe Rock.
Yeah, what a family.
And he's a soldier also, but he's the soldier that doesn't play by the rules. And they like the book takes place in the modern day, in like a conflict in the Middle East, and it's almost like he's working against himself to get promoted, and he's still a corporal. And they keep.
He doesn't want to follow in the footsteps,
right? And he has a big ass scar on his face too. So this is kind of like the second coming of a Sergeant Rock character, which is awesome, man. I really dug this book. I'm definitely coming back for number 2. And like I always enjoyed weird crossovers with Rock and the modern regular DC universe.
That's what makes this really cool. Is like during this they're in the middle of this big firefight, and they're slowly introducing like the rest of the team that he's going to be on. And there's this like nebulous, like, superhuman character, like kind of like a Superman type character, like lurking in the background, and it's cool. And it's just like not only dealing with all the shelling and like all this like the fog of war and everything, and then you have this like the superhero element is going to be bleeding into this, which is going to make it a very interesting book.
Right.
That's what something overall with what I saw this entire week with the DC books is. Like I'll be the first one to admit, like I was not impressed by when they said the lineup of what's coming out, and like even the solicitations were all very generic and kind of like, oh, here's this and this is what this book is, and here's who's writing this, and nothing really made me really want to say like, hey, I want to get into this book, and it's almost I'm kind of grateful of that because I guess because my expectation was so low for everything, that all like so many's had these pleasant surprises.
Plus, I don't think we can throw our names into the hat of being cynical comic fans. Like I'll read anything, and if I don't like it, I'm not going to pick it up again. But they really did an awkward job to gear stuff towards guys like me, where I'm looking through the previews. Previews is like the magazine where you can order stuff from 2 months in advance, and you see the solicits, and you see like Justice League Supernatural, and I'm like, I guess I'll get number 1. I'm not really interested in this.
Oh, Justice League Dark.
Yeah. Like I'll read it, but
I'm looking forward to. Is this someone good writing that? Is like Snyder or Lemire writing that, or none of them?
I don't think it's any of them.
I'm
not really sure. But you have like this kind of cool out of left field book in Men of War where they're doing like, hey, you know what? We're throwing everybody into the mix. Let's do something cool with Sergeant Rock. Another really excellent book excellent for the most part that I really enjoyed the last half of it, as opposed to the beginning of it, was issue number 1 of Detective Comics. You know.
Yeah, I have major issues. I feel like you've been saying that over and over again. I got major issues with Tony Daniel as a writer.
Absolutely.
He rocked in the art on this,
yep.
and he actually did a solid issue. This was like and what I've read of his way too long run on Batman,
awful.
This was like a solid issue.
Yeah, it really was, man. You already have like. Go ahead.
No, please.
I was gonna say, man, you already have the established semi-continuity that we enjoy of the Batman and Joker character. It's not a reintroduction of their feud. It's Joker escaping from Arkham in this, and then murdering somebody in the beginning. You don't really know who it is. Batman trying to stop him. Joker gets away, and then it's Joker in Arkham again. And he gets hooked up with this guy who apparently cuts people's faces off professionally.
It's a cool final page.
Mm-hmm. You see,
not for the weak of heart.
It's definitely not, man. And it's something with especially like you were saying with Tony Daniels. I'll say subpar Batman run. And it could just be a case of DC saying, "Hey, we're gonna do the relaunch. Hurry this up." I'm the Samurai guy and that. The theater.
Oh
shit,
yeah.
So,
You want to show them that you want to do it? You want to spoil them?
I will. I'll spoil it, man. Listen, if it's Friday, if you're a comic fan,
not for anything. There's a little conversation because Rich Johnson from Bleeding Cool actually asked Tony Daniel if he could show it on their website.
Right.
The last page of Detective right?
Detective, yeah.
Detective. So. Because a lot of people may have been skipping on the book, this was like a prime way to sell this book. Was showing the last page of this story. So let's give it a gander.
We're gonna flip it. Keep in mind, like one thing, it's not a spoiler. If you buy comics on Wednesdays, it's Friday. It's a comic book show. Read your comics. So the last page is Joker.
Get familiar.
And you're trying to like kind of put together what the Joker's doing, and he's like, slice my face off. And the guy slices his face off, and it's a perfect slice of the Joker's face, and he hangs it up on the wall, so you don't know what the Joker's doing. And he's the guy who's crazy enough to do this,
What the fuck?
Yeah. and it adds to kind of to the mythos of the character. It's like the next level of how insane could this guy be.
Yeah. And like why would you what's gonna do with Joker now? I mean,
right.
Does his face regrow?
Who knows? It's the Smilex gas.
That's so powerful.
It is. I think it's a weird thing. The other thing I read on Bleeding Cool that also had to do with I think they were the only ones who covered it that had to do with the New 52 was the outcry in like some comic store in I think North Carolina because they didn't want to carry Action #1 because of the where Superman gets blown up.
The GD
the
thing?
GD thing, And if you read
stupid.
it, it's like he's making a grunt. He's like, I just got hit by a train.
They were confused that he was saying "goddamn."
Yeah, and like all these people boycotted the book saying like Grant Morrison is a douchebag and Superman should never take the Lord's name in vain because he's Superman. And I'm like, all right, man, it's a comic book.
Y'all need to relax, people.
Everybody needs to relax with that horse.
I do really want to see this new Grant Morrison Superman say motherfucker.
Absolutely.
I want him to look at him like this, you motherfucker.
That's when he sees Lois for the first time and she's kissing another dude.
Motherfucker.
Man.
He punches a hole into her chest.
Laser beam. And another excellent Batman related book, Batgirl #1. I really enjoyed it. I was really blown away by it. I really like the take on this Barbara Gordon, and
you hate Barbara Gordon too.
I do. I was never a big fan. I really liked her as Oracle. I never liked her as Batgirl.
But you never read Birds of Prey.
No, I didn't.
And I was the weird guy who was picking up Birds of Prey.
Yeah, Birds of Prey was out for how many years?
They went through multiple writers.
Mm-hmm.
She was on. That was her labor of love.
Yeah.
But you never into Secret Sex either.
No, I mean, I really enjoyed the first. It was one of those books for me that fell by the wayside.
Best.
The
best.
Yeah.
Secret Sex was so cool just for making all these B-level, my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
B-level supervillains into really cool anti-heroes, and they took Bane and they made him into such an awesome character.
Yeah.
So it's for me reading Batgirl. I love Batgirl. I thought it was a great issue.
Right.
But it was kind of bittersweet that she had to kind of give up Birds of Prey and Secret Six to take this. But I know Barbara Gordon is her baby.
Yeah. Come Comic-Con, I'm gonna pick up all the trades at 75% off.
Oh yeah, man. Secret Sex just awesome. If you like that ambiguous gray area of heroes and villains, it's so good.
So Batgirl number one came out the other day, and she's got I really like the new design on the costume. They're sticking with the continuity of The Killing Joke, written by Alan Moore. That she got blasted in the stomach and got paralyzed by the Joker. Who was like the
she's a hottie too, man.
He was the intruder, paralyzed her. She's in a wheelchair for forever. I suspended my disbelief of the 5-year thing. In this because she's better.
She said 3 years was when she got shot up,
right?
Or the recovery, or whatever. And then she was in the chair, which was weird when I was reading the issue and they said that she got shot. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they're just saying that she got shot and she didn't get paralyzed. And then they started talking about the aspect of being in the chair.
And they show the panel of the Joker shooting her too.
Yeah.
And then it's her going out on patrol again and her experiencing like the fear. It's a really cool internal monologue where she's experiencing the thrill and the fear of being Batgirl again. Mm-hmm. And she moves out of Jim Gordon's apartment. Commissioner Gordon, who has red hair.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, they gave him the red hair. They had to de-age him, which looks cool. I like the red hair thing.
But he still has that dopey Jim Lee jacket.
Which
with the flappy collar and like
where there's like the trench coat that doesn't exist in real life.
Yeah, exactly. And she moves out of his apartment, finds like she's living with some hipster now in like a bad neighborhood, which it's in the comic, man. It's the truth. And she goes out on patrol and she has access to like these gadgets and she has her bike and everything. And
nice costume too.
Yeah, really, really cool moment where she's trying to protect somebody from being killed in a hospital, and the murderer levels the gun at her belly, and she freezes because she has a flashback to the moment where Joker shot her.
Yeah, and he's pretty cool too. Cool little villain. She made up called the Mirror.
The Mirror, yeah.
And like really bizarre looking dude. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a little weird also the fact that you have both Batgirl and Batwoman being redheads.
Yeah.
But I can't complain.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I guess it adds to the mystique, I mean, it's a hard... Like, pre-relaunch, I love the Batwoman stuff, know? And, you have the two redheads running around. Is she around?
Batwoman?
Yeah.
They'll be another number one comes soon.
Yeah. Okay.
With J.H. Williams III.
Oh, that's such a great artist, man.
I don't know if he's going to draw it. I think he's writing it.
No?
Yeah.
I'll take it. Probably, like it's hard for artists to transition into writers. I feel they write differently. Case in point, Tony Daniel. And
Tony Salvador Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's going by Tony Salvador Daniel.
And Dave Finch, too. Dave Finch, who also did a Batman book. I think it was The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Which I read 2 issues of. I didn't really like it.
I finished it, and it was the Demon and Ragman and just like... no one writes a cool Etrigan.
No, it's tough, man. It's tough to keep rhyming.
Yeah, and you always think like, oh, now this week he doesn't rhyme because he did some bad hell or whatever. But like, everyone writes kind of like a subpar demon.
I never liked how that was the throwaway, where like if somebody didn't write him rhyming, it would be like, well, I moved down a level. And I'm not a rhyming demon anymore.
Like,
I'm a guy who talks like this.
Yeah, I don't like that. Don't like that one bit.
I want hip hop Etrigan. That's it. All right, man. Moving on. Another excellent number one. I really enjoyed it because, again, it kind of kept with, like we were talking about last week, about how you're combining the 3 universes. Like Crazy Memory, Flash universe, Modern universe, and Vertigo, and Wildstorm. So that's 4, but whatever. And sticking with the Vertigo stuff, they reintroduced the Vertigo Swamp Thing into modern continuity, and they kind of touch on a little bit of the Vertigo stuff, but they don't give you too much. They stick to the core of the character. Yeah. Swamp Thing number 1, which came out this week by Scott Snyder, favorite of ours, and Yannick Paquette, who I always thought was such
awesome.
A great artist.
He's really good on this.
He's like Kevin Nolan. Kevin Nolan, who did, he also did like Batman stuff too.
He reminds me of like Eaglesham too.
Yes.
He does like those like really good facial structures.
Excellent facial lines. And it's a story that kind of takes place. It almost, if you're a fan, it acknowledges the fact that Brightest Day happened, and he came back, and even that dopey Constantine story happened. Where Alec Holland is now separated from Swamp Thing, and now Alec Holland is coming to grips with the fact that all this crazy shit happened to him when he was dead, but he still has all the memories, and he's still attached to the Green somehow. Yeah,
that's the weird thing, is that he really was never Swamp Thing. It was like Swamp Thing was a was a construct who believed he was Alec Holland, but now he has this shared consciousness with him. So there's not a lot of Swamp Thing in the book, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in this book.
There's an awesome Swamp Thing reveal at the end of the book.
Yeah.
But it's some cool stuff. He's a botanist and he's working. He's a construction worker now. He's taking a break from being Alec Holland.
He goes pot to buy you. And he refuses to do anything.
Swamp Thing, you know what? Swamp Thing probably has the best dope on her.
He does. He's the most. He's the most lethargic superhero that's gonna be out there now.
Next to Man Thing.
Yo, man. I want to talk about Man Thing later.
Yeah, I didn't read that.
Ah, you suck.
Yeah. So yeah, Swamp Thing, and he has like an interesting thing with Superman and like crazy costume Superman, and then what I kind of want to.
I don't know about these costumes, dude.
What I want to touch on is, Yannick kind of did the costumes regular, except for the Superman costume, which is a complete redesign. But there's that panel where they're all kind of like touching their ears, and I assume that's the Justice League communicating with each other.
Oh yeah.
And they sent, and Superman goes out there, and he's just like, "Hey, Alec Holland, I hear you're you're back, and you were Swamp Thing for a little bit." And he's like, "Maybe, not really. I just kind of want to be myself." And he's like, "All these animals are dying." And then he goes into this whole monologue about how the green and like plant life is the most violent form of life on the planet because all it does is suffocate itself.
That was
everything around it.
Yeah, talking about how the one thing is how one tree is strangling the sapling.
Right.
It's like it's a slow, terrible transition of death and pain and misery and. Which is a good segue into the red.
To the red, yeah. They're establishing, which I like the establishment of the different elements.
I love this book.
And you have Swamp Thing with the green, and now you have Animal Man by Jeff Lemire and Travel Foreman and Dan Green, which I thought was a complete home run, man.
Dude, and that cover just rocks.
Yeah,
it's so visceral and that's like a good portion of what you're going to be seeing in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And to really Grant Morrison really established that character and normally gave a shit about Animal Man before he touched him.
Yeah.
He did so much cool stuff with it, and you can tell Jeff Lemire loves all that, but he is going in a totally different direction of what Morrison was doing.
And it's still such a great maintaining of the Buddy Baker character. I always dug Animal Man.
Yeah,
because it was like he was the guy who he had all these crazy powers with the morphogenetic field and all that, and he had a family that loved him.
Yeah. Well, what that's the thing about it. It's such a simple, weird thing. He's got, for those who don't know, Animal Man, his power is just he can draw from the life web and can, take the elements of any type of animal. So, he's in, the middle of the hospital, fighting this hostage situation, and he's like, how to dodge a bullet. I'm, a rhino, and then, this. And then, at the very end, he's like, and I'll throw in a barking dog because that freaks the shit out of people.
Yeah. I like that bit. I like the bit where he's like, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna summon the powers of a cat to take a cat nap."
Yeah,
when he goes to sleep, and it's kind of a cool.
They did some cool shit with that in 52, where he would start doing the alien stuff.
Oh yeah,
when he was in space, and he'd start drawing on weird alien whale people and shit.
That was fantastic.
I'm gonna be a jellyfish from the stars.
Yeah, I wonder what these guys do. So you have this. I was always a big fan of the original Animal Man costume too, with the leather jacket, the kooky goggles, and the big A on his chest.
They went new with this. They went a new look.
Well, this is after Morrison left the book. This is the costume he's wearing here is that costume, the post Morrison costume.
And remember that Morrison costume he did where he was dark Animal Man, where he had the leather jacket and the black costume
underneath.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. I don't think he's gonna be wearing much of a costume in this book.
No, it's
he's gonna be bleeding too much.
It's a cool story. I mean, it starts with his memoirs, and Buddy Baker is not only a superhero and a family man, but in this he's also a movie star. So he's doing the superhero thing. He has Hollywood commitments, and he has this crazy nightmare where the Red comes to life, and he sees these hideous beings.
The three hunters.
The three hunters who were just amalgams of disgusting animals.
Yeah, they're really fucking nightmarish, Pan's Labyrinth type nutsoid.
And as he's talking to them, it's his nervous system talking to them. His red nervous system talking to them. And the book kind of culminates with he gave his daughter. His daughter has powers now. So his little girl has the ability to bring dead animals back to life, which is freaky.
So weird. Like, yeah, because the whole narrative, the whole thing's like, oh, Daddy, I really want an animal. And like, Animal Man's like, listen, bruh. Like, I'm fucked up because I talk to animals. We can't have any more animals around me. I will lose it.
Yeah, basically saying, like, listen, you get a dog in the house, I will act like a dog in a few days.
Like, we can't have this. We can't have this at all.
It's going to throw me off.
They're doing dog lapping. Talk about Animal Man. We have to bring the dog in.
Yeah. I think that might do it for the new number ones this week. Next week, we're going to have more number ones.
Yeah, we're going to have this 52 number ones. Good for business. Good for our material.
Good for our material. Man, I haven't had like I haven't brought a stack like this to show in like forever.
Yeah,
you know, because that's like the DC stuff, and now the Marvel stuff. Punisher.
Loved it.
It was good. Frightening.
I really did love it. Did you buy 2 copies of that? Oh, it's
no,
all right.
Wolverine.
I saw the spines. They all looked like you bought like 4 copies of Punisher.
I bought 6 copies of Punisher number 2
to hand them out.
Yeah, so it continues like the Greg Rucka's run with.
Can I talk about Vulture?
You talk about Vulture, man.
All right,
go for it.
So
give me the horn.
I want that horn.
All right.
So the Vulture. The Vulture. So this is the in nerd. This is the 3rd Vulture. This is not Old Man Vulture. This is not Draco, whatever that name was. Vulture. This is like this weird, like predator mouth, like taloned, like blood sucking, vomiting, like gross, like Vulture with like a mohawk, who like hired to basically just grab Punisher by the fucking head and drop him in the middle of the city. And like most of the comic book is Frank trying not to die from this creepy friggin' Vulture, and it rocked. It was like such a cool, just like a lot of action sequences, a lot of like something that, you know, like when we first started reviewing this book, I was like, you know, this is gonna be a really straightforward comic book about, you know,
crime.
Frank fighting crime, but
nope.
Nope. We get vomiting Vulture, which is right on.
Oh,
and, like,
man.
And some cool like stabbing like in the chest and like some violent shit.
Do you put sound effects in? Do you put sound effects in your head when you read them?
I just
I don't read the boom shit that happens in the comics.
No, neither do I. I do this all the time. And that.
When he spits the goop at him, like in my head I hear like,
oh, it's gross.
It's just like,
well, they do the cool phonetic shit with him where he's doing the like he's like saying over and over again like kill, you know, Punisher,
or like drop
Punisher.
So
I might do like a Mexican accent. No stinking badges.
I'm gonna drop you, Holmes. So yeah, Punisher's fighting the.
He's not part of the Crazy Eights.
The Punisher's fighting the Vulture in like midair, and you know, like in my like I really got so absorbed with it, I got really wrapped up in it, and I'm like, oh, what's he gonna do? He's just gonna let him go? No, he fights this dude, and they start stabbing the shit out of each other in midair, and you know he spits the goop at him. Punisher, and Punisher gets his eye pushed in. Punisher lands on a balcony, and I think last issue he didn't say anything. In this issue, the only thing he says was "help me."
Yep.
When he lands, you know, he looks at the cop.
In like a narrative box. What would you know? What I want to ask you this. You know the other side storyline that's going on. This is the cop's wife who survived.
Right.
What was the significance of her with that moment where she was like, did she remember something about her husband?
I think, you know what,
it's kind of vague. Like, I don't know if I was missing something, but like I was just like, oh, it's like right near the very end. It's like it's right when he's in when he says like help me, he's been dropped off the building.
Right.
And he just kind of she says like, you know, like her husband's name or like Denny or something like that. Unless she realizes that the cop that's working with Frank is, you know, working with Frank.
Right, I think that might be it. I think that's like, you know, the Punisher setup of like, I'm in the hospital and I want revenge.
The comic fucking rocked.
Excellent art too.
Yeah, man. This book is going to be something.
The cover is really cool.
Yeah, it's and like look, you look at that Vulture. He looks awesome. Like, and the other Vulture still exists. And he's still around and everything. It's just a nice little add on.
The old man Vulture.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good book. I look forward to that. But I look forward to like all the Punisher books. You know. Again, depending on who's writing them, I mean, like after Ennis left the book, there was like those few Max letdowns that were just like really dopey stories.
Yeah, there was a lot of like in between shit.
And you can do a cool one-shot Punisher story. I love one-shot Punisher stories, know, but like a lot of those Max books were just kind of like really subpar, like really like stupid.
Well, they were just like put out to be like, let's put out a violent book.
Yeah,
it really had no substance. Like it's something. It's like him, like killing a bunch of like mafia guys.
Yeah, or like here's the placebo until like the good stuff comes.
Yeah.
Speaking of good stuff, you can't get better than that segue. Moon Knight #5 came out this week. Awesome team. Bendis and Maliev, who also did a phenomenal run on Daredevil. Who'd have thought, man? I mean, I always like Moon Knight, but this just made me like the character even more.
He's making this character so goddamn likable.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole aspect of him having multiple personalities of his Jiminy Cricket is like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America is amazing.
And it's also what he perceives them, like how he perceives them to talk.
Yeah.
Or like Captain America is always like, soldier, stand up and move. And Wolverine's like, just murder them.
Like pop out on them. And Spider-Man's like, you gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you gotta leave. The cops hate me. The cops hate me, bro. I gotta go.
It was such a cool book.
Yeah, it was. And it's a dark, playful Moon Knight, like you have a good aspect of the neurosis of the character, and then you have this really playful aspect. Even though they're getting hunted by supervillains, it's like that playful aspect, like in that scene in the alleyway where he tries to kiss Echo.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah, there's like the romance between the two of them is really cool and really and really like kind of cute, and like I'm really into it. Is that what? Is that cute?
No. Somebody in the chat wrote John is sitting in a very sensual way.
Can I improve on that some more? Is this like, can I be like the Victorian lady looking out the window like drinking laudanum
in a very proper way? You have to sip your absinthe with your
sensual way
with your pinky out.
Well, I drink everything with my pinky out. Every time I go for like a drink, I always do that.
But in the opposite hand, like you'll be drinking with this hand and the pinky
comes out like
pinky's out of this hand. Give me a minute. Yeah. So Moon Knight. He tries to kiss Echo. He gets the snot beat out of him by her after they just got chased down by cops and everything, And the cool thing is, like, there's that one cop on the force who's like, "Listen, I was a New York cop for X amount of years,
cool.
And I left New York because I don't want to deal with crap like you, Baldo." And
who's talking about TikTok?
He's talking to TikTok.
TikTok and like the shitty night shift, which I love too. The night shift crew,
obscure. And so he's like, "I moved out to LA because I don't want to deal with any of this stuff. I want to do cop work and I want to go home now." I can let you go if you tell me what the story is, And then all of a sudden, like, the lawyer shows up, and it's a really cool dynamic between of the superhero stuff that and it touches on the West Coast Avengers a little bit. You have like a kind of hint of that thrown in for spice, but Moon Knight is the only West Coast character now dealing with and he still has to deal with the Ultron head, and they're trying to make headway.
I'm really interested in seeing who the Kingpin of LA is going to be. And plus, you have the fact also, weird thing, because I know that neither of us are really terribly big fans of it, but you also have, in the West Coast, you have Dakin, Wolverine's son.
Right.
And soon to return in his book, The Runaways.
Right.
Because they're the Pride. They're the bad dudes.
Well, they were West Coast for the most part until they did, I think it was like this, I think I dropped it on like the second or third run when, what's his name, stopped writing it.
One.
Yeah, after that steampunk storyline.
Oh yeah, it wasn't bad. It was never had the magic of Brian K. Vaughan.
No, not at all.
Never did.
That dude's coming back soon with Saga.
I hope something good.
Man, it's gonna be good. Man, that guy doesn't really, I mean, I love Pride of Baghdad.
Much. No, I know. Listen, I've never read a bad Brian K. Vaughan storyline. He still wrote my favorite Doctor Strange storyline of all time.
Yes,
but I want more.
Yeah, I wish he came back full time to like put him on the New 52. That would have been incredible.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to work with them anymore.
Yeah, who knows, man? I mean, like I like with Brian K. Vaughan.
Who's he doing Saga with?
Image? I think Dark Horse.
Yeah,
I want to say Dark Horse.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that.
So like Vaughan, Pride of Baghdad, that's another weird thing. I remember, I said before about how people who are just like Wildstorm is indie. And this is indie.
Is that Wildstorm?
No, I think it was put out by DC. But I've talked to so many people who've read it under the premise that like this will blow you away, and it's a good book. It will blow you away. But I've talked to so many people that have read it and were like, I don't understand why is this a comic?
I will never read that again.
Yeah,
I love. Trust me, I love Pride of Baghdad, but just being an animal lover, like I can't read that book again. It's too heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Especially if you love animals.
It is hard. It's like rips your freaking heart out.
And We 3 too. I mean, if
We 3 I can never read again.
Yeah,
I can never read that again.
that's a one and done. For if you love animals and you read Pride of Baghdad and We 3,
You fucking
see you later. Good night.
Eat your gun. Just
Exactly.
just put the gun in your mouth. And just blow yourself away.
Exactly. It's a book for non-animal lovers. New Avengers Annual #1.
I love this book.
Plenty of animals in the book, but not the four-legged kind.
Check this out, bro.
Mhm.
You've got the Revengers.
Yep.
A proactive group who is pissed off because the Avengers are proactive.
Exactly.
It's headed by Wonder Man, Simon Williams, ex-Avenger, who's
So good.
really pissed off that the Avengers even exist and that like they're the ones that are the deciding on the rights and the wrongs in our world. And then you've got Ethan Edwards, weird Skrull, like Superman type character.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have
Century.
Century.
Century's in it.
No, he's not.
It is.
Century's dead.
Century.
Oh, Century. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Century's in it. My boy D-Man, which I don't know why they messed with the costume.
I love that in this book. He's like, "Hey, I'm D-Man.
I'm
It's me,
D-Man. Remember me. I'm D-Man. You've got Goliath. You've got Black. What they call him, Black Goliath.
Not exactly. I was gonna
Atlas.
say that.
Like the Atlas. Then you got
Devil Slayer.
Devil Slayer, who I'm a big fan of.
Anti-Venom.
Anti-Venom, which is pretty fucking awesome.
I like Anti-Venom.
There was another one that was in there too that I like.
Captain.
Oh, Captain Ultra. Unnatural fear towards fire.
Mm-hmm. who Spider-Man in the book kept calling him the Pudgy Spider-Man.
Oh,
yeah.
No, he was calling Anti-Venom Pudgy Spider-Man.
Was he?
And he didn't recognize him. He's like, who the fuck you?
I really dug this book. I love Bendis on the majority of the stuff he writes, and this was it was such a dark read, and at the same time it was such a fun read.
Avengers got the shit kicked out of them in this.
They really did, and the cool thing was like the big intro was Wonder Man.
The 5 worst moments in Avengers history.
Yeah, like Wonder Man saying like, listen, these guys suck. They are bad at stuff, man. They got together, and as soon as they got together, number 1, Hank Pym creates Ultron. Ultron blows up everything and tries to take over the galaxy. Number 2, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch goes crazy, kills all the mutants, and disappears, not brought to justice. Number 3, Civil War, which I think that might be a dig against Mark Millar, where it's written that what was the point of this?
Yeah.
Like it ended with a handshake, Number 4, the Incredible Hulk, because they let this guy on the team at first, and he murdered a ton of people because he's the Hulk, and he destroys everything, and it's an awesome shot of the Hulk.
I love saying the word Hulk.
Yep,
Hulk, like Hulk.
So it's it's the Hulk not brought to justice. And number 5 was the Dark Avengers, where and it's so great if you haven't read any of this stuff. It's such like it's in a nutshell what happened, and you're kind of like, whoa, who's this guy? He wrestled control of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Tony Stark. When did Tony Stark become the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Why is Norman Osborn the greatest thing on earth right now? And it's Norman Osborn flying around in the Iron Patriot,
yeah,
Iron Patriot armor. And they touch on one of my favorite characters too, the Sentry, who Robert Reynolds, Bobby Reynolds,
Rob Reynolds, Rob
Reiner.
Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner is the Sentry. Robert Reynolds, and they go into it, and it's like these 5 things, and like, listen, we're pissed off, we're heroes, we're gonna take the streets back, and we're gonna show up at Avengers Mansion, destroy it, and then beat the crap out of everybody, and then who's next? Who's next? The surprise me.
The tower.
Oh, the tower. Oh, and this is what I forgot. I blanked out. I just read this today too. I was like, so they took down Avengers Mansion. Now they're gonna try and take that. Well, we know the tower gets taken down in Fear itself, but this is very 9/11.
Yeah. Wait, listen. We're supposed to talk about
that. But
that.
they got the shit kicked out of them. They really got their asses handed. Because, also the fact that this team, the Avengers, they got 2 big dudes. They have, 2 giants on their team. Like, nobody's got 2 giants.
Yep.
You always have just, the one powerhouse. Like, these are the 2, Black Goliath and, Atlas.
You know what? I agree with you on that. Not to sound racist or anything. I really think he should be called Black Goliath. Not even because he's black, just because he's evil.
Is he not called Black Goliath?
No, he's just Goliath.
But they used to call him Black Goliath.
Did they?
I think when Sam Wilson was Goliath. He was Black Goliath.
You mean Black Falcon?
No.
Was that regular?
He was everybody.
Regular.
He
Falcon.
was all the black people.
And you have like the two smart giants on the team, and you have Victoria Hand also trying to kind of rally the troops and get everybody together
And trying to inform people who the fuck they're fighting.
All right, and they're fighting. They're fighting the new Avengers: Wolverine, Doctor Strange, like a kind of depowered Doctor Strange. Luke Cage, his wife.
That was a weird thing. I didn't know why Atlas didn't know who Luke Cage was.
Yeah.
He said like one line. He's like, I don't even know who you are. I'm like, dude, he's Luke Cage.
Right. He's everywhere.
And plus, like, Atlas has been like in Thunderbolts. If it is the same Atlas, I don't know if it really is the same.
I don't think it's the same Atlas.
I like that little thing where, because usually they take down every big dude the same way, but like just like launching at their face, just knock him out, and then he does that one thing where he just grabs him, like grabs him in mid tackle, like Luke Cage.
Right. Yeah.
And and then he smashes him in later.
And it's cool the way they took out the thing too. Again with the giants, like he's busy fighting, and then all of a sudden you see like a giant hand smashing down on the thing.
Gabriel Toto, very very cool stuff. I really dug this book. I think whenever they do these annuals for that Bendis does for the Avengers books, they're always a lot of fun.
They really, and you know what? Like I'm not a big fan of annuals. Usually, like annuals are just kind of throwaway stories.
These never are.
Like the new Marvel ones are fantastic. And I'm excited about the regular Avengers Annual too, because it's the second part of the Avengers. It's such a great story to throw into all the Fear Itself stuff. It's like a good breather.
I'm a huge fan of Wonder Man in total. Like, I mean, I've always liked him. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the character I dig, but like he rocks.
What was your favorite Wonder Man? Pockets on the sides, Ionic Wonder Man,
green costume,
wife beater, original Wonder
Man,
green,
that green costume. Oh, really? Wow.
With the skull cap.
Yeah, I like the original, like that weirdo design. No, I didn't read that one. There's so much stuff this week now.
So much stuff, man. I mean, like, there's so many books that, like, I don't think.
Let me see that stack for a second.
Just the whole stack.
Yeah, the whole stack.
Yeah. A lot of interesting books came out too. Like they did for a breather, for the Spider Island stuff, they came out with like this one shot where it's regular people with the Spidey powers. So you have like this mom who lives in a bad neighborhood, and she gets her kids to work on time. Like a bunch of
I've read these before. They were publishing these on Marvel.com like on a weekly basis leading up to Spider Island with like the cat storyline.
It's cool that they put it all into one place.
Yeah.
And then you had 2 Wolverine books this week, which were both excellent. One of them by David Latham, which was a one shot.
That's my boy.
Yeah, man. I really like him on superheroes. I like him on Deadpool. And the Wolverine stuff is really cool.
He's awesome on Deadpool Max.
Yeah.
He rocks with Deadpool Max, which is a book I had no interest whatsoever.
That book, that Deadpool Max, harkens back to those when Vertigo first started, and you had a book like Sebastian O.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, the story is so crazy, and it kind of made you a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you don't really know where it's going. And plus, who does the art on it? It's an awesome cartoonist. I forgot his name.
Who? On which book?
On Deadpool Max.
The guy that smelled that we used to do the cons with.
Yeah. Everybody.
All the guys.
That's everybody.
The collective imagination. I don't remember his name.
Everybody.
He's very good. He's really, really good. He made some really cool character designs for like Taskmaster and stuff like that.
I can't believe I'm blanking out too, man. Like he did. He used to do like phenomenal Plastic Man stuff too.
Didn't he do? Yeah, he did the Plastic Man stuff. But didn't he do the Truth? The thing with the original Black Captain America?
I'm not sure at all.
He did.
It was a question in the chat room. GFQ viewer 7689. Is it true that Wolverine is part Asian?
Wrong.
No, he's not.
Canadian.
Half Native American, half immortal.
Just like Ultimate Warrior.
He's Canadian. He's full on Canadian.
Full blown Canadian.
But he has a weird fascination with Japanese culture, and he goes to the crazy gambling island of Madripoor.
Well, I mean, I think that goes in hand. I think most comic book fans have weird fetishes with the Asians. Yeah, so I just think, plus like people drawing him super Asian. Like I think Wolverine has the most varied like way of. We've talked about this, like from being the troll to like Hugh Jackman to being like a weird Asian guy who wears a stocking on his face.
Yeah. Also, same viewer. Another question: does John like cheese?
I do like cheese. I am lactose intolerant though.
What's your favorite cheese?
Big on cheddar. but nothing makes me happier than like in a toaster oven. When you take you make the grilled cheese on like and just like I like Monterey Jack. I like
Gouda.
I'm not a big fan of Gouda. The really sticky cheeses I'm not a big fan of.
Feta, Bulgarian feta. Now that's the best. Best feta there is.
I can't do the feta.
Nah, there's gonna be plenty of feta at the Comic-Con.
Like I don't know anything about cheese, but I do enjoy cheese. I like mozzarella, Parmesan, stuff like that.
So viewer 7689, two of your questions have been answered.
Keep them coming.
Look at that interaction. I think he also said he has a gut feeling that John has a blow up doll to his right.
I think he's talking about the painting.
Viewer, is that John's left hand or his right hand, or are you when you're looking at the screen?
I don't. Yeah, your left or my right? My right.
I feel like whoever this is just kind of freaked out. Was like, they're addressing me.
Don't be ashamed.
I'm real. I have validation.
We acknowledge your existence, people.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it. Yeah, we have a full chat here. So his right. So no, that's a microphone stand.
Oh yeah,
you're right.
My right. Yeah, this is a microphone stand. Everything next to me is like mic and camera
and floor. And there's actually another
another
salt cracker chair next to him that I have my legs on.
Listen, like I think everyone should know I'm not comfortable in this thing.
Hate it.
Don't worry,
we're changing it.
Talk to my management. Like write letters to your congressman. Get John a new chair. I'm not built for this thing. Like I'm sitting like this. Like my ass is just like. I feel like I'm doing like a lap dance at all times.
Oh, your butt's a little out.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm sticking my butt out, and I'm just like
turtle head.
Yeah,
turtle head.
That's why I like as someone said, I am sitting sensual because I have no idea how to get comfortable in this thing.
Chat room. I think we should have a what kind of chair should John have contest. And he did
that'd
say
be nice.
You do get the Best Beard Award, though, which you actually won the Best Beard Award at one point. So, viewer number 7689, you are absolutely right on that.
Thank you so much.
But I think we should have like a, what kind of chair should John have? Like a nice voting on it. Yeah, I think you should have a rocking chair. I
would love to have a rocking chair. Big fan of rocking chairs. I like the Louis the 14th style chairs. If you can get me the Game of Thrones chair is pretty dope. The one made out of all swords.
One viewer said card chair right now.
Card chair?
Yeah.
Like a card playing chair? Like a fold out? I got that in my car.
Or is that a chair made of cards?
Oh, like a playing cards.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm curious.
Viewer, what is that? What is the card chair?
Card chair. Like a car. Like I think he means like a card playing chair, like like a fold out chair. I've got that.
Director's chair.
I don't want a director's chair.
No. Cushion or no cushion on the Louis the 14th?
Cushion.
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah, I want to be baller. Look at my beard.
You're a baller. Fold out steel chair. That's what the guy meant.
Oh, we've got those. Don't worry. I've thought about bringing that here instead of pushing to the side and taking that chair.
I think you should just put it on top of it.
Just stack it. Just stacking the chair on top of this chair.
We'll put that chair on top of this chair and give you a big white beard. The Lord of Comics.
I want it to be like a weird like MC Escher painting of like chair upon chair upon chair.
With your face on one side and the other half of your face on the other side.
Tune in next week for when I cut my ear off.
So morbid.
And talk about chairs.
So morbid. Stop giving me that signal, man. I hate
what does that mean? Is that like a military thing?
That's not. I went to film and TV.
Yeah.
That means nothing. Just go like this. Again.
I have my own signals, and I keep telling people they're like real radio signals, and they're not.
Is that a little league signal?
If you were in Delta Force, you'd probably get shot. Like I have no idea how would you read this.
Do this next time. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, B.
Bring it home,
wrap it up, B.
This is Tornado. Yeah. This is Wrap It Up. All right, everybody. It's time for us to get out of here. It's 7:32 in the PM on the East Coast. This has been.
It certainly is.
This has been another episode of Behind the Counter. I am Rich Stambolian
and
Jonathan Adler. And thank you very much.
We get a sound effect on the way out. Cue it up. Louder.